Does your Vauxhall Corsa sound like Michael Flatley? Do you want to know the fix? Let's go and take a look. Click, 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 clack, 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 clack. Noise under the bonnet. Throttle body. Very common and equally annoying fault with the Vauxhall Corsas, and today I'm going to be giving you a logical and step-by-step fault finding procedure to get to the bottom of why it makes that clicking noise. When you turn your key on and it goes click, 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 click under the bonnet, and you turn the car over and it won't fire, and then you turn the key off, take the key out, put the key back in, turn it on, it doesn't make any noise, you turn it over, it fires, and then it runs perfectly. Let's start with the basics. Let's go and take a look. The first thing we're going to start with is checking the grounds, checking that they're clean. We're going to start with the main ground on the battery. Check this clean inside of here, and then also check this ground strap, undo this, clean underneath. And then going down inside of here, check this ground as well. Remove it, clean it, make sure it's nice and shiny and also nice and tight. The next thing we're going to check is our ECU ground, which is down in here. It's a little earth tag that goes down onto the ECU, and it's very common for getting corroded and dirty. So check those things, and if it's still the same, move on to step number 2. Now then, step number 2 is to provide an additional ground to your ECU. So get yourself a decent gauge bit of cable, and then we're going to put an eyelet on one end onto the battery terminal here, and then we're going to run it through the bulkhead with a little grommet on there, and then we're going to run it and piggyback it onto the original ECU ground in there. So that will provide a guaranteed ground, because at the moment we've got a ground coming from the loom onto the ECU, which works its way back to the battery. But if that is faulty, then obviously replacing it with a new one, an additional secondary ground, will eliminate any cable breaks and dodgy earths. So let's do that, and then we'll give it a try. That one's made up and that one can go on now. Smaller ring terminal for the ECU, larger ring terminal for the connector that goes onto the battery ground. Now, I've already tried this by just holding it on loosely, and it doesn't really cure the issue. But I've read online that even if that don't cure the issue, make a lead and put it on, and sometimes you get lucky. Am I holding out much hope? No, not at all. But let's pop it on and see if we get lucky this time. Now, I know I said I wasn't massively confident earlier, but in hindsight, I was testing it on my own the other day, so I had the ignition on and it was already clickety click clacking away before I applied the additional ground. So, fingers crossed. Let's give it a try. Sounds pretty positive. Try it again, it'll go wrong this time. Try again. There you go. It's gone wrong. So that is not the fix. It's now time to move on to a little bit of component replacement, really. Now, it's obviously got the drive-by-wire throttle system, so when you apply the throttle pedal, that's a potentiometer that gives a varying resistance, which then sends a signal back to the ECU, which then transmits the signal to your electronic throttle body, which is also a potentiometer with a motor on it, which can open and close itself according to throttle input. I know, why did they make it that complicated? Why not just have a cable like everyone else does? Electrical things can go wrong, because as you know from our previous videos, these Corsas like to take on water inside at a massive rate, which then causes all the electrics to be damp, which may be a contributing factor to our problems. So what I've done is I've gone on eBay and I've ordered a second-hand but good working order throttle pedal for £9, and I've ordered a good second-hand working throttle body for about 18. So we're not spending a huge amount of money, and our next logical step is to replace each component part in turn and then see how it works going forward. Now then, the first part I'm going to choose to replace is the accelerator pedal. Now there is method in my madness. As you saw earlier in this video and earlier in our other video, if you've seen it, this car took on a lot of water inside, and as a consequence it's all very damp. Now we've got a pedal which has got an electrical cable going to it, and we have water coming in behind the dash. So logic tells you this is the one component out of the two electrical components that are potentially faulty, which has been damp and wet. So we're going to go with this first. It's held in with 3 10mm bolts, and hopefully we should be able to just pop off the electrical connector in situ on the current pedal, pop it onto the new pedal, and then leave it dangling for testing purposes. And if it works, 3 10mm bolts out, new pedal in, fingers crossed. Otherwise we're into throttle body testing and replacement. Let's give it a try. Right, there's our good second-hand throttle pedal connected on the electrical connector. Now it's time to test. One click, good start. Let's try again. One click. This is looking a lot more positive. But I find the real true test is starting the car, turning it off and trying it again, because that's when it really generally starts to play up. So we might as well try a cold start. She sounds pretty happy. Since I've been having these problems, it's been a lot of cranks to start, as in like a lot, but that's a cold start. That's not been started for a couple of days. That's quite promising. We'll try it once more. Oh, one click. Right, now I've tested it a couple of times cold and it's worked every time. I've started the car up and it started really well, and I've run it up to temperature. So we are getting close. It's now time to do the dreaded hot start. And I've found from experience, previously with this, on a hot engine, it's really bad. So I think we're getting close. Once more for good luck. Well, this is looking like our fix, I would say. I think it was probably a combination of the water ingress into the cabin, the damp environment where the pedal was sat, the fact that the pedal's electric, probably got a little bit of damp inside of it, which has caused the pedal to play up. I'll do a little bit of test driving and I'll check it a few more times hot and cold, but I'm pretty confident. I think this is going to be our fix for £9, which is really good. So there we have it. Like I say, I'm going to do a little bit of test driving on this one, test it hot and cold, and if it all stays good, fantastic. But what if it doesn't? Good question. I've obviously got the throttle body on order, a good second-hand throttle body, which I can just plug in to test. So I'll keep that one as a spare in the car because it's a dead easy thing. 6 bolts to fit, nice and straightforward, 2 coolant lines on the back, not much coolant, top of the system, nice and straightforward and easy thing to fit. And if you're still having problems after you've done your pedal and your throttle body, from the reading I've done online, there's a good chance, unfortunately, that it's the ECU. And at the sort of money that this car is worth, if you've got an ECU issue and you need a new ECU, you're probably better off going to buy another car. But anyway guys, if you find this video helpful or informative, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more from us, don't forget to subscribe. Have a wonderful week and a good Christmas. See you later.